All right, well, welcome to the Relativevision TV podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Hood. I got a special guest here today that's an influencer, speaker, someone that does a podcast himself with on the Fence with Finch. It's my special guest today. Nice to have you here today, brother. How you doing?
Hey man, it is such a pleasure to be here, man. I'm doing fantastic, man. How about
That's
yourself?
right. That's right. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's another day that I get to do something I enjoy doing. You know what I mean? Especially connecting with like-minded folks. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Creating
that's
great
what it's all
content.
about, right?
Yeah, man. It's a lovely thing, man. So I'm just gonna start with something simple, man. Tell us who you are, what you do. Introduce yourself to the people.
Oh man, I'm just a country boy, man, who likes grits, scrambled eggs, and cheese. Like beat Michael Jackson Coke with the pockets on the sleeves. Uh,
All right
you know what I'm
then.
saying, man? Like I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I live in LA now, and I'm just one of the people who enjoy seeing people thrive and succeed, and any way I can assist in that journey.
Uh
Um, I'm that's just kind of my passion for seeing people enhance their lives, and in the words of my show, get their ass off the fence about living, about their careers, about relationships, about their finances, whatever the
Okay.
case may be. And you guys may know me as your imaginary best friend because I'm the dude you can call for anything, and I'm gonna tell you the truth and let you know how it is. So that's who I am.
Okay. So let's just go a little bit deeper with that and tell us a little bit about your upbringing, man. How does all this where does all this inspiration come from? Does you have a foundation? How's your foundation set up? Who raised you?
Oh man, great question. By the way,
Yeah.
my foundation started in the housing projects of Atlanta, Georgia. I was raised by my mother primarily. I
Okay.
did not. I had a I had knowledge of my father and even had a few events of him as a kid, but did not know him. He did not live with us. He came by to get me from time to time, but we didn't really have the father son relationship. And so I grew up with my mother. And when we talk about inspiration, I'm talking about a woman who wasn't big in size. She was a fairly small woman, about
Uh huh.
5'2", but very strong. Now I don't know where she got her strength from, but
Uh
my
huh.
mother instilled something in me that I didn't understand as a kid coming up because
Just a
she was
big
extra
spirit.
hard on me, you know.
Yeah.
And I grew up believing my mom didn't like me. And for that reason, as I gotten older, and my mother passed away 22 years ago,
Uh
and
huh.
one of the things she revealed to me a week before her passing was she was building me to be a strong man. And she said she never wanted me to rely on her or anyone else for my survival, but having a clear understanding of how to make it. I saw my mother become an innovator. She was a politician, so
Right.
she worked in government. So my upbringing was her attempting to position me and my middle brother to be better than the life she had and better than what she knew and did out of her ignorance with my older brother. So she sent us away to from our neighborhood, our housing project neighborhood, which had a host of schools. We went all the way out into an affluent, aristocratic neighborhood that was consisted of primarily rich white people,
Uh huh.
and that was the environment she wanted us to grow in. So I lived almost a double life because by day I had a whole different experience than by night when I came back to the hood. And so
Right.
my
I
upbringing
could
was
relate to that.
probably, not like a lot of poor black folks, because we were poor, but I didn't
Right.
know it because we always had food on the table.
She was
Um,
working to put you in a better position.
yeah, man, I just didn't have, like, when I started looking at a lot of the people I was surrounded with in elementary. But like I went to elementary school with people like Michael Lomax, who's the president of UNCF. His daughter went
Okay.
to school with me. Isaac Hayes. We're talking about a host of famous people that was in my neighborhood. I grew up with Outkast,
Uh huh.
Goody Mob, you know,
Right.
and Farnsworth Bentley, who's been my childhood friend till this day. We've been friends since sixth grade, and so our whole lives were intertwined with the arts because that's what our school was. Our school was like a modern day Fame. If you guys remember the old show Fame, it was a performing arts school. And so
Right.
coming up, I just had a whole different experience. And my mother wanted me to look at life. There's more than just the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's
The
really
world is
how I
bigger
came
than
up.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And my mother was my inspiration because I remember, and I don't know where your life was, but I will share this. You probably get it. Most people probably don't remember when the government free cheese program came out.
Yeah.
Eons ago, right? Now, you fast forward to now, they have EBT and other assistance that they give you. But back then, the government had created a free cheese program where they would provide 2 blocks of cheese, which was ginormous, to poor families in poor communities, and they gave them vouchers and a host of other groceries to go along with that. My mother was responsible for that program being started. So,
that's awesome. Yeah.
I got a chance to work on the trucks handing out that free cheese. So when we talk about inspiration and doing the things I'm doing now, it stemmed from the things that my mother taught me at that time. I saw
Right.
her run
Seeing it practically.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Getting to see it real life. Yeah.
that part. Because I witnessed her do things that people thought was unimaginable. She ran for housing association president when she had an incumbent who had been in office forever, and this lady was powerful and evil, and my mother went against the odds and beat her because my mother wanted to do what I do now is make life better for people who are less fortunate, and we were less fortunate. So she saw how the system was railroading us, and she just wanted people to understand there is better. Whether you choose that or not is a difference, but there are better things that you can do, and that's a better way that you can progress in this life that you've been given. So that's really, man, where my inspiration has come from. That was the foundation of me growing into the man I am right now.
It definitely sounds like a solid foundation, and it speaks to something that's unique in the way of you have a single mother, and we see that often, and way too often that we need to see that. But it's awesome that you took whatever she could give you because women aren't naturally supposed to be raising men. You need other men to raise men and teach men how to be men. But the fact that she provided you with the tools to be able to do what you're doing now, I want to ask you. She put you in a position to go to these different schools. What part of your education did all this play a part? Because you started going to different schools, and where did that lead your formal education, and how did that make your informal education, if you know what I mean? Right. So you're learning things formally, but outside of the formal education, how did you develop all these skills?
Answer is I didn't.
Yeah.
I went to.
That's a real answer. That's real.
I mean, that's the truth. I went to a great elementary school, awesome middle school, and they were all linked in the same program, and then a great high school. And I learned at a different rate, which is another thing because I'm more of those people where you can't teach me like you would teach a regular student because my brain is 20 times faster. And so I wasn't recognized in school, and neither did the system because they thought I was remedial. so they put me in classes that were extra slower than the normal classes when actually my brain was faster. And I think back then not being able to diagnose that and have a clear understanding of how I should be taught and how I learn, So when I left high school, I spent 2 years in college and flunked out and never went back. So everything I know now has been either self-taught, YouTube, Google, or learning from.
So it's been more of an informal education for you, with the life lessons. Yeah.
Yep. And again, man, probably 12 years ago, I had the honor of doing a tour with acclaimed actor Hill Harper. taught me some of the greatest
Oh,
lessons in
that
life.
dude, that brother right there. I've read his book.
Oh
That
yeah.
man right there. Yeah, that man right there is a special human being.
And I used to feel so bad and incompetent when it came to me flunking out of school. Like I never even talked about it. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I went to school, and sometimes I wouldn't even tell people the school I went to because I was just embarrassed by the fact that I didn't complete it because that was my mindset. He'll taught me you only need college if you plan on working for somebody else. Greatest thing I ever learned because I realized at that time, hey man, my journey was not the same journey as a host of people. And if I don't subscribe to what life should be for me based upon what somebody else envisioned for me, and
Yeah.
I understand that continuing education, you can learn any and everywhere, no matter the marketplace.
Hmm.
That's what changed for me, like saying, okay, I no longer have to be ashamed of flunking out of college because I didn't apply myself. And I had one professor, maybe two, but the one that really made an impact in college was my English professor because it was then and he taught me, he helped me understand, and this is a shout out to Peter Gyrus. That was my English professor in college. He taught me that my mind was not like regular students, and he demonstrated that by displaying a essay that he had given us an instruction to write, and his instruction was simple. He said, "Don't think about anything. Write everything that comes to your mind." And man, I remember going to the library and just sitting down and just let my mind flow. And what came out was remarkable. And he held that paper up to the class and said, "This is how you're supposed to write." And from that day, and I remember reaching out to him probably a couple of years ago on Facebook and just thanking him because he told me even then, you're a special kind of person. And learning that when you are in the top 5% of people in the country on how you think and your personality, that now helps you understand why you function the way you function. But when we are groomed to believe something about ourselves because it's within a system, we think something's wrong with us because we're not like everybody else. And that was
Right.
just a life lesson for me from both those people, my professor, Dr. Gyrus, and Hill Harper, teaching me, hey, dude, there's so much more you can do. You just got to learn how to apply what you know and the things, because I believe all of us have the things we need to be successful, whatever that success looks like to us. We are just misapplying it into areas that it shouldn't go in and not applying it to the areas it should, which will allow us to catapult into the realm in which we're living the life we dreamed of.
Oh man, I hear you 100%. So what I want to ask you is when you have that uniqueness about yourself, how do people overcome those adversities? Because it's hard when you don't see anyone else like you. What are the resources you go to? Who are the people you talk to actually help you develop that that um, that unique part of yourself? You know what I mean? Because you're different
Right.
than everybody else. There's a fear in that. Like you're gonna be judged for being different, and then
Mhm.
there's people that like, oh well, I don't know what to do with myself, or even how to learn who I am. So how do you maturate and find those things within yourself and find other people to help you develop, those skills in life and to be successful?
Excellent question, brother. I mean, I am loving this conversation. Great question. So, the first thing you have to do, come a little closer, ladies and gentlemen, so you can hear this. First thing you have to do in order for you to even begin is you got to change your mindset. And people, you hear this all the time, mindset shift. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Y'all are probably gonna be, clutching your pearls at what I'm about to say. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, go ahead, do your thing, be you.
So the first thing you need to do is adopt a mind over matter mentality. What is that,
Hmm.
Finch? Let me tell you. Glad you asked. You can't mind what people think about you because it don't matter. You can't mind what happened to you yesterday because it don't matter about what can and will happen
Hmm.
for you today. So it's when we talking about maturing, it's really about your mind, your mental maturing. Are you going to be afraid? Yes, we're often afraid of the unknown. Even at times right now in my life, with some of the things I'm working on and doing now, I am utterly afraid at times. However, if you allow the fear to become your objective, like the fear is what's leading you, it's going to lead you in off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
your ass off the fence. The fence, how I operate with the fence is always the gray area. We're uncertain. And what creates that uncertainty is our own self-doubt and not believing we're valuable where we are. Each and
That
every
part.
one of
Yeah.
you are valuable in the space that you sit in right now. It doesn't matter if you're unemployed, doesn't matter if you're still searching, doesn't matter if you work for a Fortune 500 company, does not matter. You have to look at everything that you have outlined in your life. You got to look at all of your life experiences. And now you have to put the pieces of the puzzle together and say, what is it that I really want to do? What is it that I could do right now and enjoy the rest of my life if I never made a dime? Most people are out here chasing checks and today's term bags because that's what society has depicted to you to say, this is your goal. However, there's a lot of millionaires and billionaires who are miserable, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not about the money. It's about you pursuing something that you will be passionate about and you could
finding that fulfillment.
Paid, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have to look at how do you serve others in what you do? What problem do you solve individually in your uniqueness? Because each and every one of us have a problem-solving mechanism. There is something that only you can do because you was created uniquely to do that. Let's say, for instance, in the space of podcasting, there's only one podcast like this one. It doesn't have to compete with my podcast or Joe Rogan's podcast or Joe Budden's podcast because we don't have the same goals and objectives. And if we learn how to lower our expectations of society has lofty expectations of you, but you are now expecting yourself to meet their expectations of you instead of you setting the expectations for yourself. You know, I used to always tell people success is not about how much money you make in life, or how much money you can gather, how many cars you can buy, how many homes you can live in. Success should be defined as how many goals and objectives you set and accomplish. If that goal is to learn how to tie your shoe and you work hard to learn that, well, a YouTube video, tutorial, doesn't matter the realm, then you have succeeded at doing something. We have this mindset that we have to be perfect in a sense. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Your ass is never going to be perfect in any sense. So if you stop trying to achieve something that someone else has embarked and put on you to be and become and just focus on just being you. You are unique by yourself. You have an authentic voice and you have an authentic power. You're just not using it. And the way you find out how to use it is you got to start with knowing who you are. Not who you are based upon your traumatic experience in life. Your daddy wasn't there. Your mama wasn't there. Something happened to you that was out of your control then. Those are all the things that normally push us in life to achieve things. So I want to do this because somebody told me I couldn't do it. I want to do this because my mom wasn't there and I felt like nobody wanted me. That's not your reality. That's just an event that happened to you. Your reality is I can be whatever the fuck I want to be if I work at becoming it. Because it really starts and ends with you. So that's really my antidote to that is get your ass off the fence and go live because there's a whole life out here in the atmosphere that you are unaware of, not because you're just merely ignorant, meaning, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have the information. It just means you're not even looking in the direction. Every day I get on YouTube, Google, anything I don't know, somebody has already done it. Will Smith taught me that. And the other thing Will taught me was we always have a plan B because that's what the system taught you. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Your goal should be focusing on manifesting plan A. That's it.
Yeah.
When you focus on having a plan B or even creating one, I have never, since Will taught me that, I've never had a plan B. Plan A must work for me. End of story. So whatever I have to do, I have to do to achieve plan A. That's what I'm doing. When we talk about resources, who do you know? Like we always have this thing, man, about networking, but we don't really understand what networking is. Networking ain't about you going somewhere, getting somebody to help you. How do you help them? When I got that tour with Hill Harper, it was through the vice president at that time of Wachovia, which became Wells Fargo. Now she's the vice
Mm-hmm.
president of Wells Fargo. But she taught me a valuable lesson back then. How do you create a win-win? So your networking is always about not just what somebody can do for you, but what you can do for somebody. And you can find these tools and resources everywhere. Just start looking. And people are always apt to do something with you and for you when you have something to offer. And you have to know what you have to offer before you start asking people for stuff to give you.
Man, I love the words of wisdom that you're preaching. I say these things all the time, but I'm coming to you today to let the people hear from a different voice, man. And it's beautiful, everything that you're saying, and I love it. I love it. And the next thing I want to hear you actually touch on is how important is it to surround yourself with a good environment, a positive environment, and how do you find those right individuals to put yourself around? Like I see that you're very receptive when it comes to taking knowledge and education for other human beings, and everybody wants to always be this top boss figure and I got it all, and you know what I mean, I'm here. But what they don't understand is we all pull from other great individuals, and we all have to have an environment we can thrive in. You know what I mean? Because we're just human beings, but how do we find the right people to surround ourselves with and the right people to get the information from?
Another great question, man. So one of the things that I learned about myself is I'm a magnet for people, all
Yeah.
types of people, crooks, criminals, but
Hmm.
also influential people. What I've had to learn in how to equip me and my circle with the right types of people is you got to know the things that you need for your journey. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are in a space, and in this day and age, a lot of people are content creators like yourself, and
Hmm.
you don't surround yourself with like-minded content creators who uh, two two people I mentioned earlier that taught me both of these lessons, Will and Hill. Um, Hill taught me you have to surround yourself with people who have the same vision for you as you have for yourself. And what that means is all the time we're surrounding ourselves with people who envy us, people who are jealous of us, people who want to be who we are because they don't know who they are. And
Mm.
we have to be able to identify when we are in the presence of somebody who has an identity crisis, because that's
Hmm.
normally what is going on with the people that we are trying to deal with. And we often try to deal with people below us and not people above us because of our own
Mm.
insecurities at times.
Right.
You have to
Right.
deal with people. See, think about it. I was a nobody in the terms of who people are. I had a great product at the time, which is why UNCF and Wachovia came to me. I had a great product, but I was virtually unknown. So why would they pair me with an acclaimed actor and best-selling author? Well, I'll tell you why. In the sense of they saw how valuable I was, they knew how valuable he was, but I had to learn how valuable he could be to me. You know what I'm saying? And even in
Yeah.
that time period, that was someone who was above me at the moment as it relates to social status, financial status at that time, but someone who was willing to teach me and someone I was willing to learn from. And those are the types of people you have to surround yourself with. People who may be further than you, but people that can teach you something and people that you can teach things to. I can't tell you how many countless things I taught Hill. Just yesterday, I was sitting in the office of a well-known actor, not gonna say his name, and we were just having conversations because we've been friends for a long time, and he started talking about feeling undeserved of what he's receiving now. And I sat him down cussed him real good because that's how we talk to each other. And I reminded him of the fact, and I took these are the exact words I said to him. You saved my life. And he literally saved my life. Many years ago, I was contemplating suicide, sitting in my vehicle in the driveway. And I was just going to end it all. I was going through a horrible divorce, and it was painful, right? I texted him and asked a question. He did not text me back. He called me immediately, said, "Where are you?" I was like, "Man, I'm in Atlanta, sitting in my driveway." He said, "That's your problem. You need to be in Los Angeles. What will it take for you to get here?" And at that time, like, I had lost everything, penniless. I said, "Man, I need this, this, and that." He said, "You'll have it." Saved my life because not only did he move me to Los Angeles, but he also took care of me while I was here. And he reminded me that he did it for me because someone did it for him. And he said, I had to. So when you are surrounded by people who care about you, we want people to like us. And I'm not talking about just liking you, but most of us surround ourselves with people who like what we can do for them, not how valuable we are to them, and then how valuable they are to us. It has to be a win-win, and you have to look at the character of people and not the accomplishments of people, because we gauge things on what people have accomplished and not their character. Some people have gotten where they are because they are grimy, they are evil, they'll stab you in the back, and they'll sell your young for whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in the essence, we got to become better general managers of our lives. You know, we are great superstar athlete. We are Hall of Fame players in the game of life, but we are horrible general managers when it comes to how we stack our careers, our relationship, our finances, and in even our lives. And so in being a better general manager of our lives, you have to understand, number one, who you are now, not who you're going to become, because who you're going to become is a whole different chapter. But who you are now, and when you're looking at people, looking at who they are now, because we do this so much in relationship. We're looking at potential. And potential in itself is just not enough. It's not anything wrong with people having potential, but when you talk about the character of a person, how do people that you're surrounded with deal with conflict? How do they view disagreements? All these things matter in how you have a solid niche and foundation, because when you have people who genuinely care about you, they always want to see you win, even if they're not winning in the same pace or the same race as you. And that is the catalyst and the key to you having people who are going to always help you improve, and in turn you help them improve, and it may not be in the same area.
Man, say it ain't so. This man preaching, he's teaching us something today. Message. So, man, all right. So, what I want to transition to next is what you actually have going on that we can get involved with, that I can get involved with, that I can come see you, or with the people can come see you. How we could come get a piece of this knowledge in person, or how we could help the community come out and get involved together. I think it's all in building the community together. Everybody always has something going on, and my way to actually become a part, get to know you, is how can I help you? How can I lend my hand and help you with what you got going on? You know what I mean? Not taking anything from what you have, but adding value to what you already got going on. How can I bring my crowd to whatever you got going on and make it a little bit bigger? So tell me what you got going on.
Man, I'm working on a couple of huge projects right now. One in particular is called this docu-series called Talking with Dad. And I sit down with a host of Black men and women across the country having conversations about their father. Doesn't matter the state of their relationship with their father, because we find in every relationship, no matter how it's been birthed, there is a conflict of some sort that needs to be resolved. And that is kind of the catalyst of what this program is about. And it is bringing about, it's really a discovery mechanism, and it is bringing some much needed discussions to the forefront, but also helping the people involved because we hold stuff in so much. We don't understand how those things have affected us. So that's one project that I'm working on that I really want people to get involved with. And where are you located?
I'm in IE, Inland Empire.
Oh, yes. So I definitely got to come and film you for Talking with Dad.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm a part of a studio in Riverside. We're called Riverside Studios. I don't know if you heard of it, but we're a pretty big building, and we got we got film sets and stuff like that. I do media, so we'll definitely connect on that level right there.
Definitely.
And anything that has anything to do with being a father, I have a 4-year-old son. You know what I mean? I have a great relationship with my father, but I always know that having an open dialogue about what people are going through in their lives and lacking, you know what I mean, is another way to have a support system for somebody that didn't have it or that does have it that just needs to expand on, you know what I mean, that companionship.
Yep. So you'll be great. So when we're done here, let's wrap offline so we can get that going. And just like that, that's how you connect with people, and that's how you grow your circle of friends. Just like that. Just like that's what you just did just now. Just multiply that. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to things you can support, not just you personally, but your community is, I have a website, ItsFinch.com. Everything that you need to know is there. Connect with me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and let's just start collaborating and talking and seeing how we serve and how we can serve one another, because that's really what it's all about.
Right.
If that's your mindset, and people have to be honest with themselves. Like, I really just want to connect with somebody because I want something. No,
right.
That you can do that, but you're not going to build something that's long standing. You know what I'm saying?
So,
yeah. I mean, that's really how you do that and where you do it at. There's so many. I have so many ideas of things, and you're creative, and so putting our minds together and being like-minded individuals and both having a heart just to serve one another, man, there's so much stuff we can do, and it's so crazy.
And that's what it takes
in our community. It's the media's depiction of us, which is what we now adopted for ourselves, which is why a host of us don't support even Black-owned businesses, is we have this misnomer about Black people that we can't work together, or we don't want to work together, or we're selfish, and that may be the case for a number of people, but that's not everybody, and so I just believe in always developing and creating win-win relationships, where those relationships are business or personal, and so I just people, you guys see how I am. Connect with me. Let's talk. I'm not like a lot of other people, man. Like, you invite me, I'm going to respond unless you foolishness. But I mean, it just starts with having a conversation, asking a question, or inquiring. You know what I'm saying? So, I just love what you're doing, which is why I said, hey, tell them I want to do that. And I hate that y'all didn't respond earlier, because I could have been did it. But that's what it's all about. It's connecting with solid people and us building something together.
Well, I definitely thank you for your time, man. Your energy is awesome, and I've been watching a couple of your shows, man. Everything you got going on, I like the fact that you're coming with original content, with your own personality, so much experience that you're coming with, and tell the people where they can find you and how they can get in touch with you.
Hey, you can connect with me on online. My Instagram is ItsFinchOfficial, and I have a YouTube channel called ItsFinch Studios, and we're presenting not only our podcast there. By the way, our podcast is one of the top 10 Black podcasts of. Well, we're in the top 100, but we landed at number 10, so that was great for us. We also was named Apple's top 200 podcasts of all the podcasts on there. And if you guys don't know anything about Apple, they have over 500,000 podcasts. So to land in the top 200, you got to be doing something good. And we're excited about what we're doing.
And consistently. Got to be doing it consistently.
Got to be doing it consistently. And I think you have to do it with your authentic voice, because so many people have to be carbon copies of somebody else, and that's just not going to work for you. And so,
Yeah, it doesn't separate you in any way.
In any way. So be yourself, and connect with us on YouTube. Follow our channel, subscribe to it. Click on the notifications. We put a podcast out every other week. We don't necessarily put a video podcast out every other week, but an audio one definitely comes out every other week. But check us out because we got a lot of content coming. We have a Patreon. You can find all that on my site, ItsFinch.com, ItsFinch.com, and you can connect with us anywhere we are from that website as well. So, man, I just really appreciate you having me here on your platform because it's been great. You asked great questions.
Thank you, man. It's always a process. I tell the people about that everything that most people do is a process. You might not see all the work that people put in and stuff, but it's always a process. It's never going to be where you want. It's never going to be a perfect thing, but you work to get it, to make a difference in what you're doing, and hopefully you work to get better. And that's what I do. I work to get better in my craft. I pay attention to what other people are doing just to see if I can add something, take something away from, learn from. And I'm in it to educate myself and others. And this is just a documentation of our road to liberation and prosperation. That's how I look at it. And we just journalists in the whole, and we want to be able to document the things that we do, especially for people that look like us. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you, and for all the Relative Vision family, thank you for watching. And to the next episode, Marcus Hood, I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. All right, so we're done recording.